What's up and welcome back. I'm John Starkman, MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about the pilot episode of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. This is the new Young Sheldon spinoff that's on CBS, and a spinoff of the spinoff. It's like Inception, but for TV. This does have audio description with it. You can also watch it on Paramount Plus the next day, where it also still has audio description. And so is it good? And they're already plotting, by the way, another Big Bang spinoff. Max is doing one with some of the characters, with at least one character that was in the series, sort of just set in the world of Big Bang Theory. Although I think you have a lot of potential there. It's not like all those characters are doing things still. Some of them are kind of just living off the money that they made from the first Big Bang Theory. But I don't know that anybody would watch Howard the series, but I feel like he's not doing anything. So this is a spinoff of Georgie, who I never really got a vibe when I was watching Young Sheldon, where I was like, he would make a strong character for a spinoff. You know, this feels right. So yeah, we made the progression through Young Sheldon, which didn't last as long as Big Bang Theory, but also didn't get canceled in a way where it was like, well, your ratings have declined and we have to let you go. It kind of got canceled because he grew up because they reached the end of the timeline in which they were like, okay, so now we're basically, he's an adult now. You know, I mean, that's the thing about kids doing shows with child leads. It's kind of amazing how long the Goldbergs managed to run as a show, considering that they started with child lead actors. So at some point they grow up and you go, do we keep following them after they've graduated? What do we do here? And Young Sheldon made the decision to cut and run. It also reached the point where the dad died. So I guess spoiler alert, but that was brought up in the Big Bang Theory. So I don't know how spoiler it would be for you at this point, but he's obviously the father from Young Sheldon is not in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, which does feature cameos from Georgie's parental units left behind, Annie Potts, and I forgot the name of the actress that plays his mother on Young Sheldon, but they both show up in the first episode. I don't know if they're going to recur. I don't know if they're series regulars. I will tell you that I'm watching the next episode to find out, because Annie Potts being in the show would be a huge decision maker for me as to whether or not I would continue, because she was one of my favorite parts of Young Sheldon, her and Wallace Shawn. Were two of my, when you get strong actors like that in the right role, I think they help make a series. I don't think the actor who plays Georgie is particularly strong. I don't think the actress that plays Mandy is particularly strong, and I don't really want to watch a full series of them. I don't think they're that funny. I don't think the show uses them in the right way. They decided to go back to a multicam format from a single cam format, which is what Young Sheldon was, but Big Bang Theory was multicam. So it is a weird transition. And they're doing it very sitcom, even more sitcom style than Big Bang Theory, where it feels almost like the Conners, you know, almost like they are trying to really go back to the days of yesteryear. Like they're directly referencing things, and they talk a lot about laugh tracks, and they're like, whether or not they like a show with a laugh track or not, because they like the shows with the laugh tracks because it tells you where to laugh. And I thought it was, I think they think they're funny, but at the same time, it's a really bold move to make if you're not. Because then it's almost like saying, we've put a laugh track here to help you know when we're being funny, but you're not actually being funny. That's always the thing about laugh tracks, is the other side of that conversation is that sometimes you're like, who is laughing here? You know, like these jokes aren't funny. Like, are they paying the audience to laugh? Are they all drunk? Like, did they just pass around like everybody got a bottle of Jack Daniels before the episode started, so everybody's just having a good time? It's I don't know, but the laugh track again on here, I didn't really think these jokes landed. It felt very stunted. It felt very stilted. It felt like very forced for these characters to be in this format. Like to take them out of single cam to put them into multicam was really hard for them. Like it felt like there was a struggle. Like they didn't know how to do it. They were like, I don't know how to take these, and it felt like the actors didn't know how to present themselves in a multicam format. Like they couldn't translate. And the one thing I would say is Annie Potts at least has been in a multicam format. So she's ready for it. Like she's like, okay, I got Designing Women under my belt. I'm good. Like, let's do it, Um, but I don't know that these kids know how to do that. I don't know that they understand what live in front of a studio audience means for them. And it felt so weird and awkward compared to Young Sheldon, compared to how these characters work on Young Sheldon, their dynamic. It felt almost like a dream episode on Young Sheldon, where like Georgie was having a dream that his life was a sitcom, and then he's just gonna wake up from this in like the next episode, and it will be a single cam again. It's very odd. It was a very odd format, and I'm not a fan of it, which is a shame because I like The Big Bang Theory. I like Young Sheldon, and I think conceptually, if you have the same team behind those shows, behind this should have worked. But that doesn't always mean every single time that it works. It's not like Dick Wolf hasn't produced a bad show. You know what I'm saying? Or like Chuck Lorre didn't produce a show that only ran for one season. They have. Shonda Rhimes, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody has a show that just didn't work. It just sucks that I feel like this is the show, but at the same time, they're selling it to an audience that's already there. So the best thing that I can equate it to, because I already dropped into somebody else's comments who was reviewing the show, and I was like, it felt like Joey, which did get picked up for a second season, by the way. It was not a one season wonder. So NBC really tried to make Joey work. And I could see CBS really trying to make this work. Even if people are like very lukewarm on it, even if the ratings aren't what Young Sheldon is, I could see them sticking with this because they're like, well, it's Big Bang and maybe it'll catch on. So this could run for 2 or 3 seasons before somebody goes, it's not really working. I think Ghosts is a more engaging show, and it's a weird lead-in for Ghosts. It's you put a multicam in front of a single cam, and I don't understand. I feel like Ghosts has enough of an audience and a following now that it'll survive that, even if people are not watching this. Usually, we live in an era so much now where a lot of the viewing is not live, which is why a lot of the ratings that they look at are, we have live +3, live +5, live +7. They look mainly at 3 and 7. You don't hear a lot about live +5, but it is a metric. And then they also have 30 days, which is a really sort of like longer metric of, so how many people have watched this pilot since in the last 30 days? Has the audience grown? So they're looking at a lot of those things, and they bring in the streaming services that they're dropping these things on to kind of see, the overall value of the show. So it may not have a great live viewing, but it may have great day after viewings. It may have a really strong streaming presence. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the show, but it shows them they're living at home with Mandy's parents, and then they're squabbling, and they're making some just like really obvious jokes about, they live in a room. They have the kid have a baby, and I guess he dropped out at grade 11, so he didn't make it. And they move out to their own place, but all they can afford is this really shitty trailer that is like, I don't know, under a train track. The train thing is really overdone. But yeah, so they tried to live there for a while, and they're like, oh, well, at least we're not living at home with my parents, who her parents hate Georgie. And then, well, the mom more than the dad. The dad is the one that tries to fix things and turn it back around and be like, oh, well, you know, this is why they're not living here anymore. It's really is because you and this. And so she goes and apologizes to Mandy. She doesn't really apologize to Georgie. And I don't know. I guess that's the format. It's going to be two young kids growing up with their baby. No, not young kids, but two young adults starting off really with nothing, and they have a baby, and they're living with her parents, and she has a brother that comes in and out, who is seeking a college education of some kind. Seems to be into music. He could leave the show and I wouldn't notice. I feel like that's blasphemous for young Sheldon fans, but very true. I mean, he felt so out of place when he came into the episode. He didn't feel like a character that belonged in the show. He didn't feel like he had any natural dynamic or with anybody. Again, whether or not I continue to watch the show will depend on whether or not his mom / Annie Potts show up. Mima continue to show up in the episode, in later episodes. If that was a one and done for the pilot, it's going to be it's going to be done for me. Because I just don't think the show works. I think the most engaging part for me was Annie Potts, because again, this format is not new to her, so she works. She knows she knows how to handle herself in a multicam. I felt like everybody else was just kind of dropped into a multicam and was not really told what to do or how to present themselves. And then they made jokes about how, well, laugh tracks tell you when to laugh. I'm like, not really. That's always been the thing, is that we all sit at home and then we don't laugh, but there's a laugh track. And it's like, but we don't laugh. We sit at home listening to other people laugh, wondering why they are. So yeah, this didn't register for me, sadly. I love the gang. It's a completely different format. I don't know how fans are going to take it. So we'll see. I may be the bold outlier on this. Maybe everybody's like, oh my God, I love Georgie. And to some extent, that's true. I mean, you take a character that you love, and if you love them enough, you'll watch them, with actors and stuff. It's really hard for me to give up on Dr. Odyssey because I like Joshua Jackson as an actor, but I really just hate that show. So, I get that feeling of, man, I really like this character, or man, I really like this actor. Show's not good, but I really want to keep watching it. But there's just so much TV on now that you have so many other choices. It's like, why would you choose to suffer through something that gives you no pleasure and is really just a pale comparison of what it used to be? So sadly, I am not a fan. I'm going to give Georgie and Mandy's first marriage a C-. I think the audio description was fine. It's tough because sitcom narration is never really tremendous, but this it's there, at least. It's better than what we usually get on something like The Conners. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.